Hey guys, hey, happy Mojo Monday. My name is Michael Wynn. I am the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. So we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about the why. So I've been doing these videos for a few weeks now, and more I'm getting the question when I'm out with friends or colleagues or just people in general, and they seem to have the same question. What do you do? And, that's a really good question. I think that maybe a better question would be, why do I do what I do? And I think, I was talking to Holly and Jesse here in my office this morning, and we were kind of, wrestling with this idea of why do we do what we do? I go back to something that I shared in a couple of videos back. I talked about, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been fascinated with taking things that are here and moving them to here. And throughout my life and my career and everything that I've always done, that's been sort of a core truth to why I do what I do. So I guess if I were to say, why do I do it? I do it because I connect with people who are stuck in the status quo, who are unhappy, who are dissatisfied with their business, their professional life, their goals and objectives, and they're kind of stuck in that. And I was stuck in that, and was given the ability to create paths and methods and ways to get out of that and move into being satisfied and thriving and being inspired to create innovation wherever I was and whatever job I worked and whatever company I was with. So I guess it's really taking people from here to there. And it just so happens I use websites and different digital tools to help people do that. But, really it's like, okay, so how do you get started? How do you start if you're in that place, if you're stuck, and if the status quo has just built up walls all around you, and, so how do you do it? Well, I think the first thing that's going to have to happen is for you to have courage. And, I think that the more we see courage, courage is contagious. And, so what stops you from having that courage? And I think it really boils down to, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is fear and negativity. There's so much of that going on. And so when you find yourself, around positive people, positive Mojo Monday, it really blocks, it stops that courage from coming forward. So, a lot of people say, well, why haven't you done this already? Why haven't you made the shift already? And I hear this all the time from different companies and organizations. Well, we're underfunded. We don't have the right people. The market is bad. Well, I want to borrow a little story from Sinek. I think he did it so well when he talked about, Sam Langley, right? So you probably never heard of him. But the guy was given a huge grant at the time from the military, from the government, to explore this idea of flight, of manned flight, right? And he had a seat at Harvard. He worked at the Smithsonian, so he was like connected with all the people, all the right people, and everyone at the time. In the '60s, they all were obsessed with flight. So he had the money, he had the people, he had the connections. People wanted it, but we don't know him. Who we do know is the Wright brothers, and they had little money. They really had no formal education in comparison to Harvard and the Smithsonian. And also Langley, because of the government and his connections, he had the New York Times was following him around and getting his story. And the Wright brothers, they had none of that. But what they had was this passion and this cause, this that they felt like if they were to achieve this, it would change the world. And so I think Langley was driven more by just sort of the big payoff at the end, and not so much really changing the status quo. I'd like to think that if I was in business in 1960, the Wright brothers would have been a client of mine, you know, because they would have not wanted to be stuck in the status quo, and they would have been fighting tooth and nail. You know, they sold their bicycle shop and got a few pennies together to fund their thing. And that really made me think about, and again, if you haven't seen, Google Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, TED Talk, because I'm paraphrasing some of his amazing talk. 24 million people have watched it. But he said something that I think is just still rock solid truth. And the fact of the matter is, people don't buy what you do. People buy why you do it. And I think that, you know, that's a question that we're asking ourselves at Digital Ops is, why do we do this? Why are we doing it? And I think it circles back around to, you know, all of us at one point in our life have found ourselves stuck in the status quo. We've been told why we can't do it, that we don't have the funds, that we don't have the right people, and there's no market for it. You know, but the fact of the matter is, we're passionate about what we believe in and what we want to do. And so I think at the end of the day, that's the driving force for me. And for every time I sit down with a client, you know, that first sort of analysis is trying to figure out where are they and how deep is the status quo and how stuck in the mud, you know, are they, and really identify that first. And then start to think about and create that path or that bridge in order for them to kind of cross over from where they are to where they want to be. And to encourage them and inspire them to have the courage to make that shift. Because when that happens, courage is contagious and innovation is infectious. And that is what I wanted to share with you guys today. Again, my name is Michael Wynn, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Thank you so much, guys, today. Remember, it's Positive Mojo Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great week.